Hello, everyone. Today we're going to be talking about homeowners safety. Homeowners safety tonight. What's up? How is everybody doing? Well, I hope you guys have a great week. For me, it was a good week, and also I want to talk to you guys about the event of the live search that I went on Saturday. On Saturday, I think. Yeah. Hey, what's up, JS Electrox? Welcome. Thank you for being here. What's up, Ahosanian? What's happening, Ahosanian? So I went to the live search event, and it was a great event. Great speakers. The one that I wanted to see live, it was Ed Milet. Ed Milet, my friends, he has magic. Ed Milet, it's a great speaker. I love his ability to connect with the audience, with the public. You know, when he's talking, he's connecting with you guys. So it's I'm not sure. They say there's a way, and I can probably talk to you guys and see what you guys think. The way to connect with some people sometimes, but it's by the story, right? But sometimes, you know how they say vulnerability is power. You know how they say vulnerability is power, but sometimes we are not we don't use vulnerability with everybody, right? But sometimes when you put yourself on a spot where you're vulnerable, it's like some people can connect with you and can find empathy. So when he was talking about his story and how he came up, he said like he wasn't really smart. He wasn't like a genius boy when he was young. So they said that you don't need to be smart to be rich, guys. So I guess we have some hope. He said we're not you don't need to be smart to be rich, because the guy is making so much money, guys. So much money. Ed Milet, I think he's got like a house on the beach, and he gets paid so much money for his speaker jobs that he said, you know what, guys, you don't need to be super smart to be rich. So yeah. What's happening, Rudy? What's up, Flores? What's up, Luciano? Ahosanian, I have trouble with that. What's your trouble? You have trouble with connecting with people? You have trouble with and I was having a conversation yesterday too about connecting with a friend that he's trying to get more contractors, right? He wants to get like bigger jobs and like big residential jobs, you know. So he was telling me that he was having a hard time, you know. He was always being rejected without even have the opportunity, you know. So I was telling him that maybe try to find a way to connect with these people, and maybe I'm wrong, right? But sometimes these people, the successful contractors, the people that has some success, you know, these people at some point they're where we are, right? It's not like success is not something that happens, you know, magically. So I was thinking like, man, maybe you just go to them and just talk to them and see, you know, talk to them, be honest, and tell the truth. You know, you want the opportunity to work for them, and find a way to try to connect with these people. What do you guys think? Do you guys think it's good or not? But sometimes, if you're honest with people, I think the people likes you, right? So, yeah, let's see who wants to jump in. Mr. Rudy! Rudy is the man. He loves it. Rudy, so the topic I was going out of topic, Rudy, but the topic is homeowners electrical safety, and for you guys, what is like on the Cisco panels on Federal Pacific, and what is the worst that you guys have seen? Okay, so you guys want to share it, put it on the comments, and let's have Rudy, the maestro here. He loves it. So let's see what's happening, Rudy. Where you at? How are you, Rudy?
Doing good, man.
Hey, thank you for connecting. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. Let's
So
give it a few seconds. Let's give it a few seconds
for
here
sure,
before we start.
of
Before we start giving good information out and people miss it. Let some people along on here for a little bit.
course. So, but for some people, Rudy, what I was talking about is vulnerability. That some people say vulnerability is power. What do you think about that statement?
Say that again.
Vulnerability is power.
Being vulnerable.
Yeah.
Being vulnerable
I mean,
is power.
what I mean is that using it as a way to connect with people. Because when I
Well,
was when I was looking at this guy, Ed Milet, he was giving his speech and he was connecting and he was saying all his struggles, all the hard times he had, and all of us feel identified with his struggle, So he didn't care about whatever you guys think, he's rich, he's successful, so he doesn't care about sharing his story of struggles or pains. No, and
I came on here to talk about you were saying like how do you connect,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
With contractors, and this is what I say, right? That contractors are married to their electricians if you're a good one.
for
If
sure.
you're a good one, you have a relationship, right? So I call it marriage. You're married to that contractor because they love you, they love to use you, right? So how do you get in as a new business? Like me, I'm married, in the sense of I'm in relationships with these contractors in the sense like they're friends. We've gone through the good jobs, the bad jobs, the crazy jobs, the hard jobs, the easy jobs. So it's almost like a relationship, right? You make them your friends. You help them out when you can. But in order for you guys to get in, right, you guys have to realize that in order for the new contracts to get in and take over accounts like the accounts that I have, it only happens, in my opinion, in two different. Um, Either I've gotten accounts exactly like this, right? Where the GC's tired of the electrician because of false promises and not producing, right?
Okay,
And they get fired, and then they're looking, right? They're looking for a new relationship. And sometimes, you know, I get calls from people, people, and they say, "Hey, man, what's his name? Just fired his electrician. They're looking for somebody right now," and that's when you move in, right? But if you go knocking on somebody's door and they're already happy with their electrician and he's doing a great job and he's fair, it's gonna be very hard for the new businesses to move in and soup it up, right? And not only that, a lot of contractors are most of the good ones, the high end ones, right? Um, they don't want to take the chance on you. They
for
don't.
sure,
If you heard the saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right?
for sure.
We've had that problem right now where we've had other electrical contractors come in and try to compete, and they mess up the jobs, and we just laugh. We're just like, wow, they're supposed to be easy. They're supposed to be
Yeah,
easy jobs, right? They won't pass inspection, and it all comes down to the lack of education on the job, right? Because you've heard me say this 100 times that the C10 is really easy to get. It is the easiest thing to get here in California. I mean, in my opinion, they hand it to you, you know. Um, so yeah, if you want to get work, man, you have to wait for the perfect timing, So
yeah. On my case, Rudy, I'm not knocking on doors. I'm not like going to job site and knocking on people. So because I had a couple of experiences that when I'm estimating jobs, I'm I'm doing my work, and they just going for the cheaper, you know. So I think it's sometimes it's a waste of time. So I don't work for a lot of contractors. I only have like two or three contractors that I work with. But besides that, my main source of business is homeowners.
Yeah, but think of this analogy, right? You ever go by a restaurant and somebody's outside handing out samples?
Sometimes they do, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But
So
very
this
rarely.
it's el gancho, right? So they're out there handing out samples, right? Typically, you probably wouldn't walk into that restaurant and be like, "Oh, let me buy something,"
Yeah,
right? But they're taking a risk,
for sure.
right? So the reason why I use that analogy is because the samples, right? They're out there handing out samples, they're giving them away for free, right? Not Costco, right? Because you're already in there, you're already a member,
Close
right? I'm
always
talking about,
does that.
yeah, yeah. Um, but the analogy is, you have to hand out samples, especially if you look at the sample giving in the food industry. It's normally a new business or a business that has been around in a new location. They hand out samples, right?
Okay,
So sometimes you have to hand out samples. Sometimes you have to show the contractor what you can do. Right. So, for
okay,
example, if I'm working with a brand new contractor, most of the time they're impressed. They're like, oh my God, you got nice trucks, you got nice employees. Your employees have been with you 20 years, 15 years, 10 years plus. So they start in their mind picturing something, right? And then they start comparing you with the other electrician, for example. Oh man, this guy just started. Oh, he messed up two jobs. He made this mistake. He underbid it. He was always complaining about this, complaining about that, right? So, you have to compete in the sense of how they see you, right? And part of the samples is you get in there, you start, and then little by little you start raising the prices where they have to be. You might not make, you know, all the money in the world that you want in the beginning, but little by little you have to start raising the prices. But that's a tactic that a lot of general contractors use, right? Honestly, they get in there because at the end of the day, seen a lot of GCs do this, right? They get in there, they bid the job per plan, and then they just change order the hell out of the customer. And they use
okay,
the
okay,
plans. They use the plans to their advantage, right? They're like, "Oh no, well look at your plans. This is what we bid. This is what we're responsible for." So I call it a switch and bait. Then you have the honest contractors, like me. I tell certain customers, "You want me to bid it per plan? Am I competing against everybody?" You have to know from the beginning if you're competing or you're not competing, right? Do you have to ask the GC or the homeowner, do you want me to be honest or you want me to just bid per plan? Because it's not fair if I'm going to be honest and I'm bidding this plan per plan, right? Or if I bid it with all the stuff that's missing, then all you're going to do is go to the last page and look at the number, but not read the contract, and the other guy is going to bid it, right? So you always have to know what the GC's working for. And most GCs, what they're looking for is bid it per plan. Bid it per plan. Who cares if there's stuff missing, right? Because those GCs will never get the job. They'll never get it. Now, what I normally do, I'll bid the job per plan because if I'm competing against somebody else, you're going to look like the more professional when you say, okay, here's your bid per plan, but here are all the stuff that you're missing, right? Because some people really want to know at the end of the day, how much am I going to spend on this project? Because if I bid the job for 80, I mean, I got a job for 92,000. Do you know where I ended up at?
where?
After all the changes, right? So somebody else bid this job for 72. I bid it for 104, and we negotiated down to 101 94,000. So we reduced our we didn't reduce the scope, we just reduces the contract price down to a 94,000. So he got a $10,000 uh
Discount.
a discount, pretty much a discount. So normally, when you go to contractor school, they say, oh, if the customer can't afford it, you don't just reduce the price, you have to reduce the scope also, right? But this job, I bid it fine. I could take that hit for 10 grand. This is and actually we're still working on the house. This is a forever home, and that project actually ended up at 170. So
Oh, wow,
he added $70,000 in change orders. After
wow.
me telling him all the stuff that he was missing, he still came in and added lighting under toe kicks. I mean, he just went crazy with it, which is good for us, but I've never worked with this customer before, but he literally found me on Instagram, went through my page, and he says, "No, I'm hiring you. I don't really care." And
Okay.
what helped me out was obviously my Instagram page, my daily reports. I didn't even have to give him a resume because the other guy literally had no social media, had no experience. I mean, he had the experience, but no way to prove it besides saying, "Oh, look, I've been in business 5 years."
Yeah,
I've been in business 25 years, and a lot of my customers will go on my page and look at it, and that's a big plus because you see what I post, dude. I'll do a big custom home. I'll come do 2 lights, 3 lights. I do everything, whatever pays the bills. So part of the sample tasting, the analogy with the restaurant is sometimes you have to give out samples. You have to go in there, show them what you have, and then if and later on, um, they like it, they're gonna pay you what they think is fair. And that's where a lot of new businesses struggle is finding the work. How do I find the work? How do I get the work? And not only how do you find it and how do you get it, how do you keep that work? How do you keep those contractors happy?
for sure.
So yeah,
Yeah,
and
it's
not only that, there's been an inrush of ECs in California. I mean, they're everywhere. Google them, and they just pop out like on. It's like a 7-Eleven. We're on every single corner now, right? And the problem with our business is, you're gonna get a price low and a price high. It's not like everybody's winning a few $1,000s, and I'm always bidding work, and sometimes I'm like, I know I'm not going to be the lowest bidder. But I have customers that value
for
quality,
sure,
right?
for sure.
And that's what you have to sell. Some guy was asking me the other day on Instagram, how do you compete with everybody? And I told him, I don't compete. The customer has in their mind who they want to hire. What are they looking for? Do they want the new guy on the block? Do they want the guy that's been around the block? Do they want, what do you want? You want the experience? You want somebody to, because I have a lot of good ideas because I built a lot of custom homes, right? So talk about your Friday night. Where's the EGC? So um I bring a lot to the table, right? I'm not the cheapest and I'm not the most expensive. I think I'm like in the middle, maybe a little bit high, but the ideas that I can bring to the table, with all the jobs that I've done before, especially in high-end residential and also commercial. Commercial's more cut and dry, dude. You know how commercial is. You get in there and you in and you out. You're not trying to design it. You go off the plans. But for the new contractors, I think um, you have to give the samples. You have to show the GCs what you
Go knock
have.
on doors and go hit
Oh
them at their
man,
job sites,
yeah. So
or
so when I
call
first
them, right?
started, yeah, when I first started, I was knocking on doors. I was soliciting. I was going into their office, trying to see who was the project managers, the estimators. And I haven't done that for years. I haven't stopped at a construction site for years because now I'm at a point where I don't have to. But you have to understand, as a new business, you have to do those things if you want to stay busy and you want to connect with people. Um, you have to do those things. Like, look at the growth convention, not the growth convention, but the little barbecue we had at my house, right? Um, we had like 30 electrical contractors, and people are networking with one another. I get referrals from jobs. Hey man, I'm not in Orange County. I got this customer down there. Let me, can you, I'm getting a lot of door work right now from people that are electrical contractors that know that I'm doing doors now. And a lot of work is so networking is also very important, that you talk to people and they know who you are and they know what you do. And not only that, they're going to have to trust you for the referral part, because I'm pretty sure, some electricians out there like, oh, hell no, I'm not going to refer this guy.
Yeah,
There's no way in
yeah,
the world.
yeah. So I just for me, Rudy, maybe I'm wrong, and I just the idea of me going knocking on somebody's door, I feel like it's invasive, man. I feel like I'm like invading their property. So, ah,
You
so
have
I don't know. Some people they do it. They're like professionals, man. They
you
don't
have you,
care
you have a service. You're providing a service. You have to go knock on somebody's door. You
for
have to,
sure.
and you know what? Sometimes that goes along. That you showing up at the door, them seeing you, goes a long way versus you just calling them on the phone, right? So
Yeah,
when I used to call, nothing. When I used to walk in and they used to see me and I used to talk to them, that's when I was getting results. But throughout the years, I've worked for a lot of customers, a lot of private customers, and a lot of general contractors. And sometimes, by you giving the samples, sometimes you don't like them. They might love you, but you don't like the way they work. So I've experienced that a lot because we're very detailed oriented when we're doing these high end customs. We ask a lot of questions because we want everything to be perfect at the end of the day. Like yesterday, I went to a house that we did. It wasn't a custom home. It was a nice remodel here in Huntington Beach, and I was like a little bit upset, that the guy that did the backsplash. Well, on the plans there wasn't a backsplash, so we placed receptacles, and then they decided to do a
Of
backsplash.
course,
And the GC, he's like, "Look, Rudy, I know that you care about your job. That was a mistake, blah, blah, blah." I'm like, "Cool, I'll move them," because, they have to know that you care, that you love what you do. And I don't know if you saw the video I made yesterday. No, we moved them up and, a
yeah,
little bit of patchwork and we're down the road. So you also have to be the best team player that you can be. They don't want to hear your little whining ass about, "Oh man, I have to move two boxes." No, I mean that whole
nobody wants
job
to do
moving
that.
two boxes, but we want to be 100% accurate. We want to give quality also at the same time, and accuracy more importantly. We don't want to go in there and start cutting walls because we forgot a jumper, or because we forgot a home run, or because we overlooked the elevations on the architectural drawings or something like that.
For sure, for sure. Well, guys, guys, when Rudy's here, we get just so many comments that it's hard to read all of them. But Tarin Electric, he was saying, Rudy, that there's companies that they knock the door from you, or they will go knock and give the cars if you guys don't want to do it, or door hangers, or whatever you guys want to do, right? That's a way to do it.
The
That
the only door hangers that probably work is when you offer a discount. But then
okay.
at the same time, you're going to get that cheap customer that just doesn't want to pay.
For sure, that's what I was thinking yesterday. Like, if we go to a contractor, and this contractor is just trying to bring our price down and down, do we really want to have that contractor, Rudy, or is a moment when we say, you know what, just thank you, but I
Look,
pass.
there's a point where you have to draw the line in the sand. If it's too cheap, don't think that all my jobs are profitable. In the beginning, I can look at a plan and be like, I mean, now I'm kind of working to the sense where, especially GCs that already have the jobs, you gotta understand. Again, it's a tactic, right? If you're bidding a job with a general contractor, the first thing you should ask him, "Hey, do you have this job? Right?
Yeah,
Was this job awarded to you?" And they'll tell you, "Oh no, we're bidding it against three or four other general contractors." So, what do you think happened to your chances of you getting that job? They just decreased by a lot because
for
now the
sure.
GC doesn't even have the job, right?
Yeah.
Some other GC might get it, right? But let's say, for example, I just got three jobs awarded for me in November, December, um, and the jobs were already the GCs. He wasn't bidding them out. So what do you think I asked next? What do you think my next question is? Right? He already has the job. He already has a budget. So I'm like, okay, cool. I'm looking at the plans. I'm here looking at them. Hey, what's your budget on the jobs? How much do you want to pay me for this, so that we're not going back and forth? Well, how much money you got? And some of them will tell you, "Hey, you know what? I can pay you, $60,000 for this job. I can't pay you anymore." Okay, cool. Let's do it. So the last two jobs that I landed were exactly like that. And one of them, um, again, and we're on the hook for what's on the plan. So I'm looking at this plans and I'm like, "Man, this thing's missing. This is missing. This is missing this." And you're just going, "Okay, cool. There's the change order." So I wrote up a $19,000 change order, and that's where I make my money. So you might
It's
not make a
coming.
lot of money, um, on doing it for the contractor's price, but changes are going to come. That's when you make your profit is on some of the changes. So every single job, especially in residential, the architects are so um not lazy. They just miss things. They're gonna miss things. They're gonna miss three ways. They're gonna miss there's so many things that I can sell on the job. It's not even funny. I get in there and I get in there with the owners and start talking to them, and I start walking. I'm like, "Do you really want this? Are you sure you want this? Okay, yeah, all right." And then we start talking, and here comes the changes.
For sure, for sure.
But yeah, knocking
Okay.
knocking on doors. Uh, there's something called the Blue Book. I don't know if it's still around, right? So the Blue Book it's called the Blue Book, and it has all your local contractors in there. And for us, we're looking for the Bs, for the generals. And you can say, listen, man, you can go there and literally knock on their door and be like, hey, man, I'm looking for work. I'm a licensed contractor. Let me know if you. And then also ask them, hey, can I get on your bid list? And anytime they get plans, they'll send you plans. They'll email them to you, get them printed, and then you just start bidding. I mean, it's like you're shooting a machine gun in the air, and you're hoping that that one of them catches. That's pretty much what it is. You're just
For sure.
sending estimates, and it's funny. Sometimes we won't hear back for a year, and the next thing you know, a year and a half later, they're like, "Hey, man, the job's ready to start." You're like, "Damn, thank God." I'm serious. That's just
Yeah,
how it
yeah.
is. So.
It takes time.
Yeah, it does. It takes time. So you have to be patient. We have so many contacts and so much work, and not only that, happy customers, happy generals. All my guys are really easy to work with. They're very thorough, and the general contractors really love that when you can go in there and be a professional and do your job really accurate. They know who cares and who doesn't care.
For sure, for sure. So, Rudy, do you wanna? If you guys wanna ask something to Rudy, ask him, because you guys know that only on special days is when we have the opportunity to talk to him and to learn. He's always very generous on sharing his knowledge. So I always, every time I have the opportunity, I like to listen to him a lot. So, Rudy, on your 25-year career, which is the worst safety electrical, let's say, accidents that had happened? What you have seen, the worst that you have seen on electrical fires or electrical hazards?
So we were working at a job in one of the college. I think it was Camp Peli Pomona, as a matter of fact, and this was during Christmas. And the backhoe operator dozed off a little bit, and he had somebody kind of like in the trench between the wall, and he dozed off, hit the controls, the bucket went out, and pretty much squished the guy right after Christmas, right before New Year's. Fatal fatality. I was on a job when I worked for Powerco Electric, and two guys were putting in a breaker hot, and it pretty much arc flashed in front of them. They were blind for a few minutes. Some burns, and that was it. I almost, not really almost died. I was working on a 4,000 amp 277 480 piece of switchgear, and I was taking the dead front up, and I shorted it off.
Oh,
I I
wow.
created I created a short when I pulled it out because somebody who landed the bottom breaker, it had three lugs per phase, and they went only with a parallel feed, two hots, and they left one of the lug out, and it was literally like, I mean, un pelo like this away, right? So when I touched it, boom, it blew up, it blew a hole in it, and um, thank God it was GFCI protected. So I mean, that breaker, when it tripped, it kind of exploded, it went boom, because it's under spring action. I've seen guys put the covers, all the dead fronts back on 480-volt gear, and when they put the screws in, whoever did the landing of the wires, they put them in the path of the screws, so shorts.
Okay.
um I mean, yeah, I mean, close calls. One time I got arc flashed. I was working on a rooftop panel, and I think I was putting some lugs or something on there, and I did a face to face short, and I literally saw, I couldn't see for a few minutes. It was just white.
Wow.
So don't think that um all of us have been hurt in electrical.
Yeah.
Everybody has. I don't think there's somebody that hasn't been electrocuted. That I mean, I remember one time I was at working for Powerco, and I was drilling a hole at the CHP slash Caltrans station in Glendale, and I was drilling this hole, and this was before the tools had clutches, and that thing caught on a rebar, and that thing came out like this and hit me almost right in the temple. I had like a golf ball. I
Wow.
mean, the stories just don't end. It's almost like being a soldier and you just get shot at. It's part of the of what we do. We're going to get hurt no matter how safe you are. Accidents are going to happen, no matter. And now, if you look in construction, when I first started in construction, all was required is boots, pants, and a hard hat.
Yeah.
Now you see these guys out there, and they got boots, hard hat, glasses, they got gloves, they have vests. I mean, safety has for sure expanded. And I always say this to people: I couldn't work for a big company because I just wouldn't pass the safety. I couldn't wear gloves. I couldn't wear the glasses. I mean, when I was an apprentice, I could barely even wear my hard hat. I mean, I hated the freaking hard hat. I always get
Yeah.
caught without the hard hat
We
all the
all
time.
do, man, but we had to, you know.
I would go up the ladder, man, and as soon as I got to the top, the first thing I would do is go like this, drop the hard hat, boom, it would hit the floor, and I'm doing my anchors, and then come back down and pick it up. I just couldn't work with it.
So, Rudy, do you work on hot stuff? Do you use your appropriate PPE? Because maybe sometimes I see that you do your videos and they're all like giving you stuff, right? Because you're not having your PPE,
Well,
right?
technically, right, um, I'm not an employee per se, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
OSHA really can't bust me for not using PPE because I'm the owner. I'm not considered an employee, but it's very important. I have some bad habits. I will admit that, and it's just because of the time I grew up in, right? I just grew up in that era where you would do live work with an open face, no help, nothing. Just say, let's do it, and it's all dangerous. I don't care if it's 120 volt, 240, 277, 480 volt.
Yeah.
Obviously, the higher the voltage, the most dangerous, but, um, I have really bad safety practices. I will admit that. So, for example, if I'm on the job and we're going to do a live disconnect, I tell everybody, let me do it. I'll put myself in danger versus allowing another employee to
Okay.
take the risk. But, sometimes, I mean, I've done hundreds of disconnects, reconnects live. So it just comes like second nature per se. But yeah, I do have the suit. I got the helmet and stuff like that, and I do try to use it whenever I can.
Okay. Yeah, it's important. I just try to avoid working on hot stuff as much as I can, you know. And if I had to wear my gloves. You know, it's just that some people, man, they just feel like they're muy machos. You know, they're the machos, and they don't care, and that's when you get shocked. You know, the some people say like the cemetery is full of machos, right?
So
Full of
I
machos.
I went. I mean, I've been hit with 120 volt, not a problem all the time. I mean, one day I got hit like 5 times. I was making everything, I was doing some plugs and switch, and I would just laugh, 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 and I never was technically hit with 277 until I did a lighting retrofit at the Fullerton College, and these were like 5 or 6 rows at the gymnasium. They had some lay-in fixtures, and I would disconnect the first one, and then it would kill the power to the whole row,
Okay.
right? So that day, and it's funny, all my cousins are electricians, and most of the stories when you get hit with 277, they're gonna start like this. They're gonna say, "I was working in a T-bar ceiling," and then you get electrocuted. So that day, I heard hundreds of these stories from other Sparkies, and it always started. I was working in a T-bar ceiling, right? So that day, I was working in a T-bar ceiling, and this was a stranded wire, right? So the pre-twisting doesn't really work that good on stranded like it does on solid conductor, right? So I went up there. I didn't have my gloves on. I took the damn wire nut off. Y boom, que me pica el pinche cable, and do that 277. Let me tell you, no te quedan ganas to ever do it hot again. To ever do it hot again. You scream like a baby. It's true. All your muscles just tense up. You're like, ah, you start
Yeah.
screaming and you can feel it. And you know what's going on, but you just get caught up in that voltage, right? So I was like, hell no, never again. When I got hit with 120, I'm just like, who cares? Let's keep rolling. But that 277, let me
You,
tell you,
you went on a ladder.
I was on a scissor lift, as a matter of
Oh,
fact.
well,
I was on a
I'm not sure if it's
scissor
good
lift.
or bad,
I was
because
on a scissor lift.
because
Yeah.
they say sometimes how electricians, they say that most of the electricians when they get shocks and die or they have accidents is because of the fall when they're on a ladder or they're on something like
True,
that. They say from the fall, not exactly from the shock. But don't listen to me, guys, and don't try to do it. Okay, I'm not.
Dude,
I'm not an expert on safety, but I'm trying. Okay.
I was on a scissor lift 20 feet in the air when that
Wow.
happened. 20 feet in the air. Luckily, I wasn't on a ladder because most guys will jump off the ladder and either break their leg or,
Lose
stuff like
control.
that.
Lose control. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So luckily, nothing happened. I survived and life goes on, but it's going to change you to next time when you're working on that high voltage, you're going to turn it off.
Yeah. For sure. For sure. Okay. You guys, if you guys are gonna ask questions now, because then we start talking and then we're talking and we don't see your questions. Okay, so try to ask now. Now is the time.
You in SoCal? Yes, I'm in Orange County. How's let me see.
¿Cómo se puede hacer uno para certificarse para el estado? Compita Jiménez, Rudy, tell them, Rudy.
The certification? Just study, man. First thing, memorize all the code sections. Get into a class like me and you were in a class. I vamos
Yeah,
al paso. Little by little. You see me there 3 times a week, just listening, participating in the class, and people
I
kind of
love it, man.
wonder.
I love it.
People think that I know everything, and I don't. I still make mistakes. I still have to go into the code and double check myself. It's not something that you can learn in the 4 years. I still call myself a student. I still call myself an apprentice. Um, because you're never going to stop learning. I mean, me and I mean, we're in a nice class. We spend 2 hours, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Sometimes I make it 2 days a week. Sometimes I'm there 3 days a week. So that dedication, if you want to be better and the best, surround yourself with like-minded people, with other electricians.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's so many questions, Rudy. They're going by. Can you swap a main panel underneath an overhang SCE spotted
No.
in the same
So there's something that they
location?
call they have a phrase, they call it a walkable surface, right? So if the overhead cable is over a patio or any walkable surface, a structure, it's allowed to go over the walkable surface a few feet, but no, technically no. You might want to reach out to him and ask him that you have a walkable surface, um, and they might relocate it somewhere else.
Okay, what made you go on your own, Rudy?
When I first started, um, my dream was always to work for myself. I visualized things down the road. I visualized employees. I visualized trucks. I visualized my equipment. It was just something. And not only that, most of my family, my dad and my uncles, they all had their own business. So it's not like I was the first business owner in my family. So I kind of felt like it was something. And obviously, the pay, the money, I'm really motivated by revenue.
Okay, wow, very good. Let's see. Okay, name a time when electrical theory circuitry had you. Man, es que pasan muy rápido, Rudy. Se me está perdiendo. Sorry, guys. At what
Okay,
age did
here
you
we go.
start? Did you start in electrical?
I started in 99, 1999. So I was born in 1977. So I was 22 years old.
Okay.
22 when I started.
What you used to do
22,
before? What
21.
you used to do before that, Rudy?
Nada, pendejeando nomás. Puro party.
Okay, okay. Um, what about some classes on running? What is that for? What is that for? Do my work hours without school count for my certification?
No.
Bi- Okay, there it is. He hecho el trabajo eléctrico, pero aprendí en el field. Nunca fui a la escuela. Me faltó teoría. ¿Qué puedo hacer para aprender más y ser así como tú, Rudy?
So he really doesn't know,
Okay.
right? When you know electrical is that when you can go into the book and
Yeah.
find the answers, right? And
Yeah.
there's people that know electrical con lo que han mirado, right? But
Yeah.
they're not. and some of those practices are wrong, right? So if you want to know electrical, get into the book and learn on yourself. Make sure that what you're learning is accurate. That's all I'm saying.
Ya está, compita, póngase a aprender ahí al libro. Let's see, more questions. ¿Se puede agarrar el examen en español? El de la certificación, no sé, la verdad. Yo
Yeah,
no.
yeah. Sergio offers it in Spanish.
The
It's in
training,
Spanish.
right? Okay.
Yeah, yeah. You can
So
take
you
it in Spanish. Yeah.
look for Sergio, the search electrical training.
Se llama El Profe if you look him up on
El
Instagram.
profe Sergio, the search method. Um, Send him a message. Siempre tiene clases él. Any trade schools you recommend, Rudy?
If you want to be a real electrician, it's either the IBW, WICA, or ABC. They're the only ones that are state indentured. They have other programs that are, 8 months, 6 months, they're just not state indentured. And if you want to make money, the only way to make money is money and benefits is IBW or any PW work, government work, prevailing wage work. That's where the money's at. If you don't graduate from or IBW alongside your general journeyman certification, you're going to lose out on a lot of money that you're leaving on the table because you don't have the education.
Okay. So yeah, there is, ya sí, sí se puede tomar el examen en español, Search Electrical Training, ahí está, compita. La men not being able to yawn, do you think I could go talk to them to be, I have no idea what you're talking about, my friend. But thank you. Hey, Rudy, there was a guy that he had a really good question.
I mean, you can scroll
What,
down. You
huh?
can scroll down. You can scroll down on the questions if they move in too fast.
Yeah, they were. Okay, this is a good one. Can you please explain why our fault breakers keep tripping even when a basic household vacuum is connected?
Because the vacuum's a motor and there's arcing, so that's why. So when AFCI first came out, we were having issues with them tripping, and we're still having issues with them tripping, but not as bad, right? So vacuums trip it. I remember when a ceiling fan would trip the arc fault, right? So the technology has gotten better, and what has to happen now is at the factory for refrigerators and certain appliances will trip AFCI real quick, but the manufacturers of these appliances literally have to put in their specs, hey, this will not work on AFCI. Do not provide AFCI protection. If the manufacturers start doing that, we can start taking that type of protection off those specific appliances. So until then, um, I tell the customers I'm not taking the AFCI breaker off because then I can be held liable. You can go after my insurance. But if you call somebody on Craigslist that's not licensed, and they can remove it. It's that simple.
Okay, but then it's not on you, right? Then
Of
there's
course.
it's on the homeowner.
Exactly. Let's say I go take it off and it catches on fire. Who do you think they're going to blame? The license guy. Oh, and not only that, I should have known better than to remove that type of device.
For
So,
sure. Hey, so Rudy, do you think you're influencing these young guys to become electricians, man?
pues es lo que dicen. I've gotten a lot of DMs from people say, "Hey, man, I joined the trade because of you. Thank you very much." Honestly, like, yeah, it's. I mean, I'm not doing it on purpose, but they like what they see. They like that I love my job, that it's complicated, that there's plenty of it. The last thing that I'm worried about is getting laid off. There's just work all the time. I mean, I'm just working, 16 hours a day, 5 days a week guaranteed. Tomorrow we're actually going to work. I got a job we're going to be starting tomorrow. So,
Nice. Advice for someone wanting to open their shop. Get ready to cry, my friend.
just have some money put away because you might go through the bad times and the good times.
Yeah,
Has been through it. The longer you're in business, the you're going to see your bank account like a roller coaster. It's going to be negative, then it's going to be positive. Luckily for me, I have lines of credit. The money shows up. You know, you replenish it, then you're negative again. That's just how it is. Don't expect the to be, oh, I'm a business owner, everything's going to run smooth. That's not the case. The money thing is the biggest issue, and then finding work is the other biggest issue, and then getting paid also is the other biggest issue. So
Yeah, yeah. So now, Rudy, when I think, because my older boss used to say that the guys, like, good luck, I'll see you in 2 years. And now I understand why he was saying that. And I don't think he was saying it on a bad way, because it's just so hard, Rudy. On our fantasy, on our mind, we have the dream, but we have no idea what it really takes, right? So I think now I understand why he was saying, like, okay, see you in 2 years.
most businesses don't make it.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
go back to work for somebody. I've seen it happen. I've had personal friends that got into the business and they just couldn't make it. They didn't know how to keep jobs, how to keep customers happy, generals happy. This is the whole thing: is you charge too cheap, you're gonna make no money. You charge too much, you're not gonna get the job. So it's
Yeah.
almost the same thing, right? And I tell my customers or my GCs, I'm like, look, man, if I'm not gonna make no money, I'd rather just stay at home. There's no point. It's the same
Mhm.
thing. Some customers understand that you have to make money. That's why you're in business, to make to turn a profit.
For sure. Do you want to read some of their questions, whichever one you think is good?
So how can I be an electrician? I'm currently doing solar, but I want to be dabble in real electrical. Get into a program. Get into a real apprenticeship, ABC or WICA or the IBW. Go apply.
Sure.
How can you talk? How can you talk owning an electrical supply store? I have no idea.
Maybe
Ben,
he wants to buy a supply house or something, right? Well,
I
sometimes
love.
they
Yeah, let me see.
start a small shop.
Bending PVC is hard to do it. And can you give some info? I saw you couple videos. Crazy. So bending PVC is an art form. You have to know when it's overheated, and you have to know when it's underheated. It's just the way I did a video the other day, and I'm going like this with the pipe, and you see that it's moving. It's ready to go. You have to know when it's ready to be installed. I'm doing my first 15 unit complex on my own. How can I best bid these units? So those are what I call cookie cutters. They're all probably going to be the same. So come up with your unit pricing for one, and then times it by 50. And then obviously you have corridor lighting, exit signs, outdoor lighting that you have to bid. But my jobs are typically the ones that I like to do under $300,000. I can do those jobs, me and a helper, all day long. So good luck with that 50 unit. Is union the way to go, or can you work under a company with a licensed contractor that takes? Yeah, there's non-union companies that you get credit for, for your apprenticeship. Like I said, WICA and ABC, that would be the equivalent to the union,
Yeah.
but obviously non-union.
And they help you, they have their programs, their apprenticeships, so they can help you find a job too. Wika does that,
Yeah,
and probably
yeah,
ABC too, Rudy.
correct. Yeah, it's on the job training, and then and then once you do 6 months out in the field, you come in and do the book part. So yeah.
Okay. Rudy is the man. So let's see why electrical safety matters, Rudy. Electricity is something we use every day, but we often take it for granted. The reality is electrical issues are one of the leading causes of house fires. With a little awareness and regular maintenance, we can avoid so many of these risks. Some of the key tips for homeowners electrical safety: get regular inspections. I recommend having a professional electrical inspection every few years, especially if your home is older. Inspections can catch things like outdated wiring, overloaded circuits, or potential fire hazards. It is a small investment that can save you a lot of trouble. Be aware of updated panels. if your home has an older electrical panel, especially a Cisco or Federal Pacific panel, it is crucial to address it. These panels are known to fail at an alarming rate, meaning breakers may not trip when needed. What do you think about Cisco and FPEs, Rudy?
They're trash. That's why they're recalled. It's simple. You tear them out if you have them. They
For
don't trip.
sure.
It's a mechanical failure. They're overloaded and they're overloaded and they just won't trip.
How do you what would be the best way? Because I had a customer that he had on Cisco, and then we went through the process, and then he canceled it when we were like scheduling with PG&E the meeting and all that stuff, the on-site meeting. It was an underground, so that's why we had to do the meeting and we had to go through the engineering uh, part with PG&E. So, but then he said, like, you know what? I don't want to do it, and I'm like, how can I explain to you that the safety of your house, it's a risk, because sometimes if let's say if they're investing 8,000, $10,000, your house, if a customer's house is valued, let's say 500,000 or 600,000, and how can you explain that to them, Rudy? Because I see like like they don't understand how things work, right? Or the risk that they are.
Well, those days of having the Zinskos and the Pushmatics and the Bulldogs and all those old breakers, Federal Pacifics that are recalled, they're coming to an end here soon. So I just picked up a job, 48 units, 48 different meters. Some of them are 3 packs, 4 packs, 8 packs, 9 packs. They got a letter of cancellation. Hey, you need to change it. You got no choice, or we're going to cancel your insurance. So that's one
Yeah.
way of dealing with it, right? Or you can be proactive about it and be like, hey, you know what? My life might be in danger. Let me call a trained professional to get some pricing on the Zinskos. To swap them out to something new, something more sensitive. Like I did a, I did a, I did a swap out one time for a Zinsko, and the lady was complaining that now stuff started to trip in the house, and I'm like, no, that's normal. These breakers are actually working. The problem with your old
Yeah.
ones is that they were not functioning correctly, though. So you're lucky we changed it. So then you go in there, and now you're running new home runs to take some of that load off those existing circuits. What people don't understand is houses from the 50s, the 60s, and the 70s, they were not made for the. Of a sudden, here we are, fast forward to 2025 with all these new little gadgets. It wasn't wired to sustain those new loads. It's that simple. So
Yeah.
um I mean, sometimes you'll see one kitchen with one circuit and they're wondering why the
Yeah.
coffee pot and the toaster and the air fryer trip when they turn everything on in the morning. Well, you don't have enough power. It's a simple formula. It's not tripping because there's something wrong. It's because you're
Yeah.
overloading it.
Yeah, sometimes they want to put everything on one outlet, right? They add like the surge protector, and then they add all of those things, man. I'm like, man, it's crazy. All right, so if the house is 100,000, 200,000, or 300,000, 400, it's worth the investment to do the upgrade, right?
I mean, sometimes the upgrade is necessary, but then what if you have aluminum wiring? And you gotta understand, people. Some people are barely making it. We show up as the electrical contractor, and they have a house that they've owned for years. Uh, the people are retired and getting Social Security. They're barely
Yeah,
making it check by check, and then we show up, and yeah, it's 5,000 for the service, 5,000 for the sub panel, another 20 to rewire your house. They're like, get the hell
yeah,
out of here. I'd rather just I'm gonna die in this house anyway, so just let it happen.
for
Honestly,
sure.
people don't got the money. You know,
All right. Any good questions from these guys? Let's see. What's physically the hardest task to do when roughing a house? Okay. What is it, really?
the hardest task when we're roughing in a house is getting the correct information from the designer, the homeowner, or the builder. We're
Okay.
always missing information all the time. and I always say this, a good insight, a good residential wireman can go in the house. The first day you're gonna figure out, so, by the end of the rough, you're gonna be walking to the house. You're gonna see the light fixtures, the desk. You have to be able to visualize it. But nothing is really hard besides getting the correct information.
Okay.
And that's literally, you're doing a big custom home and you're walking this once a week with the homeowner, and it's just like changes behind changes behind changes. If you're roughing in a house like a track home, you never meet anybody. You go in there, you put it in, and you run out as fast as you can. So, getting information would be the hardest thing. And when you're wiring a house, getting the correct information, especially if it's a custom home. If it's just a regular home, I'm gonna say at the bottom of the hill or nowhere near the ocean, then it's pretty easy. You just install everything per code, and you move on. You have simple questions like, hey, where's the bed going? So you make sure you don't
Yeah,
put any receptacles behind the bed. You put them off to the side to the vanities. Set up the TV in front of the bed. So that's the first thing. If I'm running a simple house, I always ask, where's the furniture going? That's it.
for sure. Damasio, what's happening, Damasio? He says, I also sell it as a tax rebate that they can get on their taxes for those panel upgrades. Yeah. The thing is, I did one on a burnt house, Rudy, and it just the process with PG&E, man, it was so long, man. It was so long, and the
It's very
people,
discouraging, huh? It's
yeah.
very discouraging.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the insurance, they pay the owners for for their stay at the hotel for like 2 months, and
Yep.
then they had to find somewhere else to go, and they had to go back to live in that house, man.
Yeah.
And they had no power for a year, and they were dragging their feet and dragging their feet. It was unbelievable, man. Like,
So right here in this area, what's equivalent to PG&E with all the rules and all the red tape is SDG&E. Like if somebody calls me for a panel in SDG&E area, the first thing I'm, yeah, I'll change it for you. It's so much, but you have to coordinate with them. Well, why can't you do it? I'm sorry, I don't have the time.
yeah,
If it's an Edison job, I can literally call Edison. They're out there within 7 days, give me the meter spot report, and within a week after that, dude, I'm done. I go get the permit and it's done. But the more red tape that they put up, that's when people start doing the
yeah,
swap outs without permits and everything else. So that's their process. If PG&E wants to make it, a year out for planning, then most likely people are going to give up or do the panel upgrades. You hear that all the time. People get caught doing it illegally,
for sure,
because
for
they don't want to go through the
sure.
process.
Yeah. So Rudy, do you think, and now you guys are gonna get a lot of work, right? How far are you from the area of the fires? You're not
I'm
gonna
not
get
gonna.
any of
I
that?
I I, I won't go out there and work. There's no way I'll go out
It's
there.
too far from you, or it's
No,
just,
45 minutes,
yeah,
an hour maybe, but I don't go anywhere towards LA. Let's just put it like that.
it's just for the traffic?
Yeah, pretty much. And all my jobs are here grouped. Why would I take a so the job I'm going to tomorrow, it's about an hour away, an hour in like 20 minutes, but it's worth it. It's 48 panels, 48 meters. It's worth it. It's a good
Okay,
job. Um, no, I
you're not
won't. I
going
won't
there.
go. No, I'm not gonna go there. I don't care.
They're gonna need a
I mean, that
lot of
job.
electricians.
Yeah, but that job, it's all insurance work, man. I used to. I mean, I still work with the company. We do insurance work, and it's the longest jobs I've ever been on.
Okay,
Believe me.
and probably they take a long time to get paid too, right?
That's the problem, is that your money's just sitting there.
Yeah,
So how long have
easy.
I been in the trade? I'm going on 25 years. I started in 99 at the age of 22.
There it is. All right, questions. Smart questions, my friend. Smart questions. Rudy, so you, you're not going there. So, Rudy, I'm thinking about doing. I'm gonna start next Wednesday. I'm gonna start doing this lives on Wednesday. I'm gonna start doing them on Spanish. For a small business, because I had a lot of comments that I should be doing some on Spanish, like the way I started with the business, with the marketing, with all that stuff. So I'm gonna try to do that in Spanish, because they say like it's a lot of information in English, but sometimes there is not enough information on Spanish for the small business.
Marketing can be going on knocking on people's door,
For
you know,
sure.
picking up the phone, and that's free marketing. You show up with your shirt, versus I mean, right now we're probably spending like 3 grand a month for the door business for marketing on Google, and it's actually working, believe it or not. We've gotten a lot of good accounts. But sometimes in the beginning, the business, especially small business, they don't got $3,000-4,000 every single month for marketing, and that's one thing that can either make you or break you. So, you know, you have to figure out what you want to do.
Yeah, like I was thinking, like on the like I was saying on the coaching business and all that stuff, it's just like trying to squeeze an orange that is already squeezed, what you're gonna get from it,
Yeah.
right? Okay, let's
Yeah.
see. Corona, what's up, Corona? What has been the more effective for you to getting more work? Having a website or social media, Rudy?
Not really a website. Again, it goes back to relationships. I guess he wasn't here.
Okay.
You know, do the people that you work for, they like you or not? It's that simple. And are you performing? Are you giving them any trouble? You know, um, I mean, we have one account. We're doing like 150 jobs a year with them, in just small kitchen remodels, bathrooms. You have to perform at the end of the day. They don't want to hear no excuses. You know, a lot of these jobs are fast paced. You tear somebody's kitchen out, those people want their kitchen back. So yeah, sometimes it can get very stressful in the sense like you have too much work, not too many employees. You know, what do you do? Do you hire a bunch of people, bring them in temporarily, and then fire them at the end of the jobs? I really don't like to do that. You know, there's different ways of dealing with it.
For sure.
So
There was a good one, Rudy. What is the best way to learn the NEC code book?
I mean, the flashcards is pretty cool. What do you think about the
They're
flashcards?
nice, yeah, for sure, for sure.
I mean, my last flashcards, I left them in my sweater and I washed them. But you want to start with these flashcards. Um, you know, chapter 9, table 1.
Okay.
And you turn it over, and the information is in the back, and you just sit there. You know, you can even do this while you're, you know, driving.
No, I don't think that's a good idea, Rudy.
You know, chapter 9, table 10, you put it to the back, you know.
What's be-
Yeah.
what's better for business when starting off a shop, residential or commercial?
Obviously, you know, it depends. What are you going to be doing? Low end residential, high end residential, commercial? What, you know? And sometimes you don't have that choice. Sometimes, you know, there you might have a commercial contractor that wants to use you, or a residential contractor that wants to use you. The problem with me, why we do so much residential, is because in the beginning I was doing a lot of side work, a lot of residential side work. I came from commercial and industrial, so we just got really good at residential. You know, uh, I think there's a lot of good companies that do commercial work, but there's also a very few limited companies that can do residential the way that we figure it out, the way that we do the layout, the way that we do our wiring, the way that we run branch circuits. When we're done with these houses, we don't have no issues of nothing overloaded. We look at everything.
Okay. See what do you think about jobs that require certified payroll? And do you do any of them?
Yeah, you have to hire a consultant if you want to get into that. So when he says certified payroll, he's talking about prevailing wage work,
Okay.
government work, and stuff like that. It just costs a little bit more. There's a little bit more paperwork involved in it. Um, you know, be registered with the Department of the
The
DIR.
DIR? Yeah,
Be registered. Yeah, but there's people out there that can help you with it. There's
for sure.
consultants out there that are willing to do all the paperwork for you for a percentage of the job cost.
Yeah. Saludos, Rudy. What is your opinion on renewable energy such as solar power and battery storage? Luciano Flores Electric.
Um, I mean, I've been thinking about getting a solar system at my house because the electric bill is like 600, $700. And I was at like almost $1,700 a month for a solar. So
Oh, wow.
now I kind of feel that they're kind of forcing me to do something that I really didn't want to do. Um, um, but I really never believed in it. It was one of those things that, the minute everybody goes solar, man, or EV. Let's say we get rid of all the EV, or let's say we get rid of all the gas, and it's going to be so nice to charge your car for $12 and go 1,000 miles. But I guarantee you, once we're all on that same boat, they're going to hike up the rates. It's just that's what I've seen happen. I remember when I got into diesel trucks in the early 2000s, diesel was 80 cents and gas was like $1.35. So everybody jumped on the diesel trucks. And then what happened, right? Now diesel's more than gas. How in the hell did that happen? Because supply and demand, right? Now there's a lot of diesel trucks out there. So,
Mhm.
um, I think there should be a diversity. I think that I should be able to pick between gas, diesel, natural gas, and electric vehicles because they're just going to hike up the rates. It's just that simple.
What they say is eventually because they want to eliminate the gas. They say because less people is going to be relying on the gas price is going to go up. That's why they're trying to electrify everything. You probably seen the.
I think they're trying to electrify everything for the for the smog, for cleaner air.
Mhm.
I don't
Yeah,
think it has to do with yeah. It's just it's according to them, it's cleaner,
for
cleaner burning.
sure. Yeah, I
But
think it's California. I think they're planning to do that like by 2040 or 20, yeah, something like that, right?
yeah, yeah. They're banning cars, the sales of cars, but we'll see. We'll see where we end up at. Hopefully I don't have to go buy electric vehicles. I love my trucks. You know that.
There is already the electric Benz. I think Ford has an electric Benz now. Or no, the thing is that I'm not sure if I can charge one of those Benz in my house. Because then I'll probably end up paying more money too, right? But a lot of companies have done the transition to electrical to EV Benz.
They have, but they're not going too far with them.
I like it. I like it. All
So you
right.
you
So
know you know you know I go to the auction, right? There's some of these trucks that are government owned.
mhm.
They make it to the auction, right? I seen a Econoline all electric. It had 10,000 miles and it was at the auction. What is that? What happened to it? Like something went wrong.
Hmm.
Something went wrong. It just couldn't electronically. Yeah, they're just there. People trying to, the government just went and bought these things, and you see them at the auctions all the time. They don't run. They just say non-functional. Who's going to buy that? So think about it. I just don't think the technology is there for the bigger trucks yet. It just isn't. I know they have 18 wheelers now that are electric, but you go buy a brand new Peterbilt, they're like 200, 220, and then now you have to go buy an electric vehicle that's 450, and the big rig is 550, 600,000. What do you think is going to happen? People don't understand that at the end of the day, the consumer has to pay for all that. It's just
Yeah.
that simple. What do you think's happened with all those fires? Do you think me as a homeowner, what do you think's happened to my insurance? All those fires that happened in by the beach in LA and all that. You think the insurance will take the hit?
Yeah.
But it's going to be really interesting what's going to happen when some of my homes when I have to renew my policy. I guarantee you it's not going to be the same price.
Oh, for
We end
sure. They
up
had to,
we
they
end up
had to
we end
get
up paying. Yeah, we end up paying at the end of the day.
for sure. And sometimes, yeah. And Milo was here too. Milo, let's check out this comment, Rudy. I, Pedro from Martinez Power Electric Inc. Below that by electrifying, we electricians know by here that we don't know have the capacity to do so. Probably Milo knows better because they're saying that the grid only can handle so much, right? Like if we change everything to electrical now, are the wires are going to be able to handle, the transformers and all that stuff? That it's going to be able to handle the
Of
demand?
course, not. I can't handle the demand. If they said tomorrow we're all going electric, you're not going. You're going to be walking to work. There's no way. There's no way it can happen, and the government knows this. They're not. Yeah,
That's why
that
that's why the plan is maybe by 2040. Not worth it, Mina. Okay. Not worth it to go solar or not worth it a EV. Saludos, primo. Ánimo, eres cabrón. Caracol, me imagino que se refiere a ti, Rudy, I guess.
Ánimo.
How to go from an apprentice wage to a journeyman wage or master electrician wage? That depending on where you are, man, you
Certs,
will have to find out yourself.
certs,
Yeah,
certification. That's the only way.
yeah, for
You're an
sure.
apprentice when you don't have certs, and when you start getting certs, then that means you're not an apprentice
The
anymore.
certifications, right? And yesterday, in New York, Steve was saying that they don't have a certification.
Yeah. New York, yeah. Who knows
They
how
just
it is out there?
have like the masters. Okay, Rudy, I
Yeah.
don't want to take up much more of your time, Rudy.
All right.
If do you
I got to get back
wanna
to work. I was working on an estimate right now for this. So yeah, I just wanted to come on and talk about how do you get work? It's going to be hard, man. You have to solicit. You got to be out there.
for
So
sure? Hey, uh, this one from Reese. Have you ever had a house that contractor spray foam outside walls 2 inches on 2 by 6 wall before electric roof? Oh wow! And he's been asking these questions like for 3 or 4 times, Rudy. So he's been here.
no,
Thank
so
you, my friend.
typically we see spray foam on ceilings with no attic, right? But normally that happens after the roof, not before the roof. And then you also
Okay.
have to consider that once you spray you put these NM cables in spray foam. Now they have to be derated.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but no. Normally the spray foam goes in after the fact, not not before the roof. Yep. Yep. All right, man. Well, I'll let you guys go. Nice
Yeah.
talking
Thank
to
you.
you.
Thank you, Rudy.
All right, take care,
Have
man.
a good
I'm still gonna
night.
be watching. I'm still gonna be watching.
No, I think I'm done or really quick. I can go through everything. Um, yeah. Thank you, Rudy. Okay, my friends. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us, Rudy. You guys know that when Rudy jumps in, it's always we get like a lot of comments and we get a lot of action from you guys. So thank you. I want to work in Wire Electric Company. Everybody wants to work there, man. I want to work. I want to go work with Rudy. I told him, hey, Rudy, how much you charge me to go work for you for 2 weeks? Okay. So let's see where I was. Okay. Let's some of the tips. Check the outlets for homeowners. Check your outlets. Have you ever noticed an outlet that feels warm or sparse when you plug something in? That is a red flag. Use GFI's outlets in the area, kitchen, bathroom, and garage. These outlets cut power instantly in case of a ground fault, preventing shocks and saving lives. Okay, so thank you, Sergio. Tú también, que descanses. So, next week, guys, we're gonna be doing, because I saw Ed Milet and he gave me some motivation with, he has a book that is called The Power of One More. The power of one more, the power of one more sale, the power of calling a customer, the power of do one more thing during your days. And you guys can get that book from Ed Milet. It's really good. The power of one more. So I'm gonna do one more live session on Wednesday, and this one is gonna be on Spanish. So Wednesdays are gonna be on Spanish, and Fridays are gonna be in English. Okay, guys. So this started because I wanted to learn more about the business part, because I was an electrician, and I was just working, and I didn't know anything about the business part. So that's why I started to do this live so I can learn on different topics for the business. And now uh, I wanna do that too on Spanish, because I have some suggestions from people that they wanna do that I should be doing it on Spanish. So I'm gonna start doing Wednesdays on Spanish, trying to help people, and we can help each other out, right? And probably by reviewing, remember, repetition, 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 my friends. Repetition. I posted this week on my notes. Repetition is the mother of learning. So if you guys want to learn something, we have to use the repetition. Okay, repetition, repetition, repetition. So now I already saw that information about the business part on English. And on Wednesday, I'm gonna start the series. And I would like to interview, some of the successful people here in the county, the people that has their business, the people that has grown their business, and we can get inspiration from them. Okay. Thank you, Damasio. So I'm gonna do this on Spanish, and we have some very, very inspirational stories. But also, I not only like to interview successful people. I want to interview and have conversations with regular people that are struggling, that are on the process of learning. So because there is value there too, on the English or on the TikToks, you always see like the millionaires and the billionaires, but there is value too on the people like me, the people that is struggling, the people that is figuring the way and trying to learn on how to make it. So that's what I'm planning to do. So Wednesday in Spanish and Fridays in English, and I hope I can keep counting with your support. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you, Damasio. We're here to help each other, man, and lift each other up for sure. That is the plan, and hopefully we can all be together. All right. Thank you, guys. Have a wonderful weekend and good night.